There we go. At
Cool.
Del Valley High School, this is where the Central Texas Food Bank is hosting another one of its food distributions.
Yeah, so this is, we've seen several of these take place since, the pandemic really took off earlier this year, went about right around mid-March. Our photographer, our photojournalist, Ed Zabala, is out there right now at Del Valley High School. For those of you who don't know where this is, it's southeast of Austin, right near SH 71 and Ross Road. Look at this, cars already lined up. And since we have been tracking these distributions, this is usually the site. It's always a staggering sight with cars lined up waiting to get their box of food. Ed says so far about 500 have signed in, and they expect to help about 1,700 people. So 1,700 people rolling through, and this is going to be running well from about just kicking off, maybe about 20 minutes ago?
Yeah,
We're going
not
to be
too
going
long
till
ago.
4.
All right, yeah, and everybody, if you're just joining us, we are talking about the Central Texas Food Bank is doing a food distribution right now. This is a live look at Del Valley High School where you can see lines of cars are driving in there to pick up a box of food. In the past, what they've gotten is a 25-pound box of food with items that will hold for a while, such as peanut butter or canned vegetables, canned meat even, as well as some fresh produce so that those families who are really in need of the help can get it.
And I know that our Candy Rodriguez had covered earlier this month about the spike the Central Texas Food Bank has been experiencing, and they've been seeing not just a spike in overall requests for food, but a spike in first-time clients during the coronavirus pandemic. They are facing an 86% growth. We're talking about an 86% growth between March and April. Very short time frame. That's quite a jump.
And if you want to take a look right there, I think it's amazing to point out all the precautions that the food bank is taking so that not only are their volunteers safe, but so are the families coming to get food. So as you see right here, these volunteers who are picking up those boxes of food, they have on gloves, they have on face masks, and the families who are receiving the food never get out of their vehicles, so they simply open the back of their vehicle, and then those volunteers drop off the food, set it in there, and then the families can drive off. As you see right here, another line is leaving after they all received a 28-pound box of food.
And we were saying what's in there. I believe they get non-perishable items. They get some peanut butter and pasta, some canned items too. And like you mentioned, they kind of roll up and they put it right in the trunk of the car, the bed of the truck, and then they keep on moving.
It's a very detailed system, a very nice one too, to be able to provide some help to families that truly need it. We also want to point out that KXAN is partnering with the food bank to be able to raise money for this organization as it faces and tries to meet this incredible need here in our community because of the coronavirus pandemic. We here at KXAN are making it a little bit easier for people to give some money. If you have the ability to do so, you can. Right there at the bottom of your screen, you can see at kxan.com/food bank, you can give money to the food bank so that it can keep up these operations and continue to help these families that truly need it.
You know how much we're trying to raise?
How much now?
$1 million.
And
$1 million.
The good news is we're so close to that.
We are, and that's why we've been tracking this. I mean, it's been incredible, it's staggering, really. It's just the amount of people that need help, the amount of people that are saying, hey, I can help, the volunteers who are out there, and then, our viewers who are going on and making these donations too. We really appreciate that. I know we talked about Siete Foods. With the last food distribution, who were giving, they were matching up to $250,000. I remember you and I, Will, when we were covering that food distribution, and we were saying, this is incredible that this family business is saying, hey, up to $250,000 we'll match you. We're looking at potentially $500,000, and now we're here again, and we're talking about
$1 million.
$1 million. So pretty cool, pretty amazing.
Yeah, we should say that Siete Family Foods here in Austin is doing that matching up to the rest of this month. So time is running down. I mean, we have about 10 days or so of the month left. And so if you make your donation at this time, and Siete Family Foods is going to match up to $250,000 to the food bank.
And just put that in perspective, when people want to make a monetary donation, we've been trying to put this in perspective for you. So 4 quarters, $1, Quarters will buy 4 meals for one family. That's nothing, you know, for a lot of us. We can find 4 quarters under the seat of our car and make that donation too, if that is something you feel inspired to do. Pretty incredible. But again, as we were saying earlier, just the spike that the Central Texas Food Bank has seen. I know many times, many of us can kind of live in our little bubble, and we think about us here right in the city of Austin, or right in Travis County, or Hayes, or Williamson, or Caldwell. But this is Central Texas we're talking about, this whole region, this 21-county region all around it. That is a lot of people, you know, that need help. And at present, donations this year, they have surpassed the total raised in 2019.
That is
The amount-
incredible.
I know, that's amazing.
But that also highlights, you know, even though people are facing a very tough time, as we see right here, dozens
Yeah.
and dozens of families are coming to pick up boxes of food. On the flip side, though, the people that are able to give are doing so.
Yes.
They're giving money so that the food bank can continue these operations at such a critical time, because there is no end in sight for this pandemic at the moment.
That always makes me think of that very famous Fred Rogers quote that says, whenever something bad is happening, you should always be looking for the helpers, because there's always going to be people out there helping their neighbors and giving back and spreading love. And that's always what comes to my mind when we hear about things like that.
That is wonderfully said. We want to show you again a live look here at Del Valle High School. Lines of cars with families who need help are driving into the parking lot there, and they're being met by volunteers who are decked out in their gloves and face masks and other protective gear, and passing out food to them. So each of those boxes that you see there kind of lined up and stacked up there in the parking lot, those boxes of food are going one by one in the back of those cars there, and they contain 28 pounds of food.
So our photojournalist who's bringing us these live pictures, Ed Zabala, he's saying that it's actually looks like 2 boxes of food this time around.
boxes
So
of
what
food, okay.
you were saying before, we were seeing 1 box,
Right.
plus also 2 gallons of milk for each car too, which is something that we haven't seen in all the distributions in the past. So a little something new there for
That
families
is amazing.
to get.
Now that you are saying that, I will notice the last vehicle that we saw a little bit ago, they had some gallons of milk in the back of the vehicle, so they are giving that out today too.
Yeah. And again, to recap, as we were, you know, saying that the incredible growth of the Central Texas, growth and requests that they have seen. So at present, those donations this year, as we mentioned, have surpassed the entire total raised in 2019. Now, in April, donations were 10 times higher than in years past. However, here's the thing, in the same month, the need was 57% greater than last April. So yes, the Central Texas Food Bank says, yes, we've seen a lot more donations coming in, but we are feeding way, way, way more people. So just because we're seeing this increase in donation doesn't mean that we don't still need a lot of help. And, you know, we still have a bunch of families out there who've got to put food on the table for their babies.
We want to plug that fundraiser that KXAN is partnering with the food bank to do. And at the moment, we are so close to $1 million in donations.
amazing.
I mean, can you believe that? That is so much money, and it will provide, I mean, thousands upon thousands of meals for families who really do need it.
Yeah, so I'm actually, forgive me, I'm texting with Ed right now because
Yeah.
he's our man out there. He's our eyes. You know, he's giving us, of course, these great shots, giving us perspective, but he's also seeing some things happening behind the scene too. And he said it looks like it depends on the family size for the size of box or how many gallons of milk they get. So they're
Okay.
probably making that assessment as those vehicles pull up, ask a few questions, and then from there you get your donation.
And Ed was able to share with us how many families have already been helped at this particular food distribution. Mandy, what were those numbers again?
He was saying that it started at 1 o'clock. They had already had 500 signed in so far, and they are expecting 1,700 people to roll through this. And it goes until 4 o'clock, so about 3 hours. In a 3-hour time frame, 1,700.
I think people should really think about that. There are 500 families that have signed up to be able to receive boxes of food, however much is for their family. That's what they're needing. They are needing that help at the moment because they are struggling during this pandemic,
Yeah.
whether it's through job loss or some other circumstance because of this health crisis that we're facing. And they are relying on the food bank to be able to receive meals and food for their families. Please think about that. If you are someone who is fortunate enough not to be struggling as much at this moment and you have the means to give, think about and consider and really maybe put your dollars into action and give to the food bank, the Central Texas Food Bank, because they are helping thousands upon thousands of families each week. And that need is still there. It's not going anywhere at the moment because this pandemic is not over. We cannot stress that enough. Our economy may be opening, businesses may be welcoming back customers at certain points, but this health crisis is still in effect, and it's still causing issues for a lot of families here in Central Texas.
That's well said, Will. You know, at present, the charity, they say they have served more than 93,000 families and more than 300,000 people in that 21 county area. Now, in Travis County, the food bank has served more than 35,000 families and more than 126,000 people. That's a lot. You know, when you try to process that number, it's a lot of families that we're talking about. Hey, I just saw Ed kind of zooming in there, and
Yeah.
it looks like that must be some kind of blanket that helps keep the milk cold.
Right,
I'm
yeah,
thinking
I
that's
just
the
thought
cartons
that
of
too.
milk that are right there.
Yeah, so in addition to the boxes of food, and that again varies apparently by the family size that are coming into the distribution, they're also getting gallons of milk. So the help is, vast, and
We
the
haven't
supplies
seen.
given.
I'm glad to see milk because we haven't seen that before, right?
That is right, yeah. In the past, we've only seen boxes of food being given out, as well as some fresh produce here and there, but the milk appears to be a new addition to what these families are getting.
Yeah, and hey, for anyone who's tuning in, thank you for joining us on KXAN Live this afternoon. And if you are watching this and you're thinking, I'd really like to help, and I'm fortunate that I do have food in my fridge and I want to help somebody else, we made it easy for you. Right at the bottom of the screen, you can see it there. Donations can be made at kxan.com/food bank. And Will and I were mentioning earlier when, Will, I know you've covered several of these.
Yeah.
You and I have covered one together, and at the time we were talking about just potentially maybe getting to like a $500,000 goal.
Yeah,
and now
that
we're talking
seemed
about
like a
getting-
big goal at the time.
It did, yeah. And now we're talking about hitting $1 million. So that's pretty neat. We hope you can help. We hope you can help. For
Yeah,
sure.
and I know that as much money as we've raised at this point, it's not going to take much to get to that $1 million mark, which will have such a huge impact on the Central Texas Food Bank and their operations at the moment, because if you see right here at this distribution site, the need is great. So line after line after line of car has gone through here, and those are families coming to pick up food because they truly need that assistance. These volunteers are welcoming them. They are trying to make it as easy as possible, so it's very systematic. The volunteers are putting the food and the milk that they're getting today in the back of these people's vehicles so that they don't have to have any kind of, person-to-person interaction. While I'm sure they would love to be able to provide that at the moment, they're taking the necessary safety precautions that they need to so that people don't get sick, but they also get the help that they need, and that is very important and really impressive to see just how they've been able to do this and really step up when this pandemic has come seemingly from nowhere to affect our community and in our area. Just amazing to see all that they've done.
Yeah, it truly, truly is. Now, I know we're looking at this one right now at Valle High School.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this and you need to go get a box of food, they do have another distribution happening on Thursday, May 28th, and that's going to be at the Burger Center.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, that is in South Austin. It's just off of 290 Ben White Boulevard, very close to between South Lamar and Manchac Road. It's just a big old stadium that sits right there off the highway. So again, that's going to be on May 28th at Tony Burger Stadium. I'm going to work on getting a time too so that we can get that out as well.
Yeah, we do want to be able to help people and connect them with resources if they should need it. But once again, if you're just joining us, we are talking about a food distribution that's happening live right now at Del Valle High School. At least 500 families have already signed up to be able to receive some sort of assistance today from the food bank. The food bank is prepared to help as many as 1,700 households today from this food distribution site. Really think about that. We throw those numbers out, but those are individuals and families that really need the help, and the food bank is trying to meet that need as much as it can, and it has so far. And that's with a lot of help that a lot of our viewers have been able to give. Throughout this whole process, we have raised almost, very close to $1 million, and that fundraising goal that we've had has just gone up and up and up. We've exceeded it and tried to expand it because the support from all of you at home has really gone up a lot during this time.
Yeah, and if you have made a donation, thank you.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We
Thank
can't
you
say thank
so
you enough.
much. We can't say thank you enough. That's why we're looking at almost hitting that $1 million goal that Will is talking about right now, this afternoon. And just to recap here for you, I did get that time frame because I know I was mentioning
yes.
the next distribution. And as we were saying, that's going to be on May 28th, Thursday, May 28th, so a week from today. And it's actually going to be in the morning time. So it'll run from 9 a.m. until noon, 12 p.m. And that's going to be at Tony Berger Stadium. Center rather, in Sunset Valley, right off Ben White Boulevard, right off 290. So you can always find out more information about that at KXAN.com or even on the Central Texas Food Bank's website as well.
We want to be able to say if you would like to donate to the food bank to be able to help them out during this really great time of need, there is an easy link. It's right there at the bottom of your screen, kxan.com/foodbank. You can go on there and customize and donate however much you would like, however much you feel comfortable giving at this time. If you're able to give some, that's great too. If you're able to give a lot, that's even better. But any bit of help, no matter how big or small, would be so greatly appreciated by the food bank and by us here at KXAN because a lot of you have stepped up already to do that.
Yeah. And let me just keep it real with you guys. So it's not complicated at all.
No.
I actually made a donation through our website, and you know, maybe the first thing that comes to your mind for some people is, oh my gosh, are they going to ask for all my personal information and then spam me with emails and phone calls? It's not like that at all. It seriously takes no time at all. You go on, and as you said, Will, you can customize it. So they do have it set up. Do you want to get 5, 10, 25, however many dollars? Or you can say, hey, this is what I can afford, and just type it in, bada bing, bada boom, and you are done. It's very, very easy. So we try to keep that as simple as possible. If you are someone who's maybe a little hesitant on how that whole process works and what information you're putting out there and putting your credit card in, it is very easy, and it does go very, very quickly. So just something to think about too. And I know that we've been talking about the Central Texas Food Bank and all the work that they've been doing. Our Candy Rodriguez, she has done some amazing coverage of their work. She has put a face to these households and homes that we keep talking about. Parents who've walked to these distributions with their little ones in tow and strollers to get that box of food that they need. She has talked to a mother of 4 who said, I've lost my job. I've got these 4 little ones at home. Daycares are not open right now. I'm just, I need this help, and these are the people that are out there that we're helping. Just a few of the faces that the Central Texas Food Bank helps.
We are looking live still at that distribution that's happening at Del Valle High School. However, I wanted to be able to pull up that website that is just very easy to access so that you can donate here on your screen. So take a look right here. Again, this is kxan.com/foodbank. You're seeing a bit of a delayed live stream with me and Mandy there at the top, but if you just scroll down, you can do all this. So we have a lot of coverage of different stories we've done talking about the need here in our community, but if you scroll a little bit further down, there's the area where you can make a donation. So there are suggested amounts of $25, $50, and $100. However, you can customize it, select other right there. The information they're going to ask of you is your billing address as well as your payment details, so you can put your card number there, and it takes Visa, American Express, Discover, and MasterCard. So just keep that in mind, and then you simply click right there, Make My Gift, and it goes right to the Central Texas Food Bank to be able to help them during this really great time of need as they work to help families who are really struggling right now because of the health crisis that's still ongoing related to the novel coronavirus.
Yeah, and as we know, that novel coronavirus has knocked a lot of people out of their livelihood.
Yeah.
We've seen that number, the unemployment number, not just go up locally.
More than 2 million people, they said today, have filed within the last week across the U.S. That's not just in Texas, that's across the U.S.
That's heartbreaking when you think about that, and that's why the Central Texas Food Bank does such great work. So because of those numbers going up so much, they're experiencing first-time clients, people who've never done this before, that are rolling through and asking for their help. They've had about an 86% growth March and April. That's just 2 months.
Wow.
So once we get through the the month of May, to see how that number even potentially continues to increase too.
The families who are lining up today at Del Valle High School there are greeted by these volunteers in gloves and masks. they're doing their part to protect themselves and the people who are picking up food. They're giving out boxes of food there that you can see stacked up in the different rows. That's about 28 pounds of non-perishable items. So we're talking about some produce, some things like pastas and canned meats and canned vegetables, things that will keep a while. Additionally, you can see there are gallons of milk stacked up right there, and the families who are pulling in today are also getting milk from the food bank. So the food bank is having to pay money to be able to provide these boxes of food and buy up these items so that these families can get it. The cost of that is only going up because there is such a great need. So they're trying to meet all these people who are asking for the help and be able to provide the food that they need. So that's why we're making this fundraising push to try to raise as much money as possible from a lot of you to give to the food bank so that they can keep this service going for as long as possible, because this thing is not over just yet.
It's not over at all, no. And unfortunately, we don't have an end in sight right now. We get new updates every single day, and we know from our local health officials that we are starting to flatten the curve here in Travis County. But we still got a long way to go. I mean, yesterday, Will, we were talking about, we saw an update from the Austin Public Health saying that, we may not see any sizable gatherings potentially until after December. So that's something we're still monitoring. So with all that said, that kind of puts into perspective, again, that there isn't an end in sight. And for many people, that could be their work. That could be them getting back to work or not, and how things are going to be playing out for them. And I know you were saying earlier, too, about the amount of people that have been going through and that they have seen, the Central Texas Food Bank has seen a jump in donations. In the month of April, they had raised more money than they had in the entire year of 2019. And that's pretty amazing, right?
Think about that,
in a short time frame, they beat their entire goal from the year before. But they said, that's awesome. Thank you so much. But the thing is, we are seeing a huge amount of people asking for help. So yes, the donations have increased. They were 10 times higher in years past, but they have a 50% increase in the amount of families that are asking for help. And these pictures here that you're seeing on your screen, so these are from our photojournalist, Ed Zavala. Now, Ed was saying that depending on the size of family, that the vehicle that pulls up and what they need, they get 1 or 2 boxes of food, and then they're also getting 1 or 2 gallons of milk as well. And that's actually that blanket that you're seeing there, that's kind of preserving, keeping everything nice and cold, those cartons of milk for all of the families that are coming through. And Ed was actually saying, this kicked off at 1 o'clock, so about 45 minutes ago. And at that point, they had already had 500 families had signed up so far.
I'm sure it's gone up since then.
Yeah, definitely. And then overall, this thing is going to be going until 4 o'clock, and they're expecting about 1,700 families to come through.
We've seen some of these other food distributions. I mean, they've been happening like en masse like this for several weeks now. So they're prepared at least to handle between 1,000 and 2,000 families in some cases to be able to give them food. To be able to do that, they need lots of more donations to keep up with that. So that's where any money that you might be able to give at this point, that's where it's all going to go, is right to be able to provide food for these families who are lined up right here receiving it one after the other from these volunteers.
Yeah, some people wait out there for hours.
Right, and some people line up beforehand for
Yes.
hours just to be able to get up kind of close to the front.
It's usually it's quite a sight. I remember the very first one at LBJ High School, which was maybe a month and a half ago, that our Tom Miller covered. You covered with him as well, Will.
Right.
People had been lined up for at least an hour, 2 hours to get through, and I remember Tom saying, like, this is just staggering, and him just showing the cars that were not only just filling up the parking lot, but they were spilling out into the street too. So it was a sad sight, and it makes you happy to know, though, that all of those people got through and they were able to get the food that they needed.
And we see lines of cars still waiting there, pulling out after they also received their food, and there's more to come and replace them here in just a few moments. All right, everyone, our stream may be coming down to the end here in just a moment, but once again, we want to be able to say to you all and make a plea, and please ask for you all to donate to the Central Texas Food Bank. We are very, very close to raising $1 million for the food bank, which is a huge amount. And that's all because of the help that you all are providing right there at home.
$1 million feeds 4 million people. That's a lot of people.
Like,
it's a lot of people, you know, that
that's
we can
astounding.
help. It's pretty, you know, you're helping out your neighbors. You're helping out the person down the street, the family down the street. So it's really, really cool. And I know we've been telling you, if you are just tuning in, if you go to KXAN.com, you see that little website there at the bottom of your screen. You can click on that. And from there, you can make a donation. Super simple.
Any amount you'd like, for no matter how small or big, they will take it. Any help. And Mandy, correct me if I'm wrong, but $1, so 4 quarters, provides 4 meals, is that right?
4 meals for a
Yeah.
family. 4 meals, yeah. You know,
They can really stretch it.
they can make it work, right?
Yeah.
And that's 28-pound box that they're putting into those families' cars. We had actually talked to a mother who got one of these boxes of food, and she said there were big packs of chicken that she was able to get at one of the distribution sites, and she was saying how helpful it was, on top of, you know, the peanut butter and canned vegetables and powdered milk and beans, because that chicken, she was like, that lasted us a while. So that made my heart happy, you know, as someone who comes from a single parent home. I was like, good, I'm glad that she is able to feed her kids, her babies. You know, I'm happy we have all these incredible volunteers out there, masked and gloved up, ready to put that box of food in somebody's car and give them a smile and wave, and you know, just spreading that good love. That's good stuff.
It's amazing to think about the sense of security that gives those families who are receiving those boxes of food and that milk today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, that's something new. If you are just tuning in, they're giving out gallons of milk, and in the past we haven't seen that. So that's look, this
see
guy's
right
about to
there.
put 2 gallons of
2 gallons.
milk in the back of the truck. Plus, and Ed was saying, that's our photojournalist bringing us these pictures, that it depends on the size of the family. If you're just tuning in, to clarify that for you, how much they're going to be putting into the car.
Everybody, we are looking live at Del Valle High School, where the Central Texas Food Bank is holding a mass food distribution. You've seen car after car, line after line come through and receive those boxes of food that those volunteers have put into the back and sometimes the trunk or the bed of the truck. They're trying to limit the interaction they have with the people so that people can stay safe and healthy. And those volunteers are taking precautions by wearing face masks and gloves and doing those kinds of things to be able to keep this going and to keep all those people healthy so that they can do more of these food distribution sites. And Mandy, you had found out some details about another one that's happening next week, right?
Yes, if you weren't able to make it to this one today, the next food distribution from the Central Texas Food Bank will be next Thursday. So that is May 28th. It's going to be at Tony Burger Center. That's in Southwest Austin, Sunset Valley in particular. It's just off of 290 and just near Lamar, Manchac Road. And that's going to be running from 9 a.m. until noon. We'll have all of that. Actually, that information is right up on our website right now if you want to go look at it again and bookmark that, you know, or write yourself a note, whatever you need to do. So that will be the next one, May 28th at Tony Burger Center.
All right. Well, we also want to say, if you're wanting to donate, we have a website, an easy way to do it. It's right there at the bottom of your screen, kxan.com/foodbank. Right there, if you go to that particular site, you can just scroll down and customize however much money you want to donate. So right here, make a donation. You can give it in $25 increments, basically, so $25, $50, $100. You can also customize it with that other right there. All you'll need to give is your billing address and then your payment details, and then boom, the green button right there, make your gift. And we are very close, Mandy, to raising $1 million for the Central Texas Food Bank.
And through the end of the month, Siete Family Foods, they are going to match match up to $250,000. So they're in this too, helping to, you know, meet those donations and get us to that big goal.
And they see the need that is in the community, so that's why they're stepping up to try to match those donations.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is amazing. All right, Mandy, is there anything you'd want to add before we wrap up our stream?
You know, I do encourage you all, if you have some time to spare, again, our reporters have done some really great stories about, you know, covering the coronavirus pandemic in general. We have a whole section up on our website, and we also have these stories of people who have been affected by it. And I'm sure many of you who are watching right now can relate in some way. So I encourage you to go check them out so you can kind of put a face to who the Central Texas Food Bank is helping. There's been some really great stories that kind of tug at your heartstrings a bit. If you're looking for that, if you kind of want to get away from that I know everybody needs a little break from the hard news.
There are some positive things happening.
Yeah,
and you're seeing it right here too. I mean, all those people that are kind of directing traffic and putting the food at the back of these vehicles, they're volunteers. Think
Yeah,
about that.
they're so
they are
cool.
giving their time to be able to help these families that truly need it.
Yeah, I love them out there. I love seeing them.
All right, everyone. We do appreciate you all joining us for this stream because we wanted to highlight the need that's in this community. I think that it really says something when you're able to see the lines of cars and the thousands of people who are needing assistance right here in our area. More than likely people that you work with, people that live down the street from you, or that you see out and about in the community.
Definitely. That's true. You know, it might be somebody who's, you might just see, like you said, kind of out and about and not even realize that they need help. And,
Yeah.
and that could be the person that you are spreading that positive energy to. Now, just to recap, so this is going on till 4 o'clock today.
Right.
So if you do want to get out there, it's at Valle High School. You can still go and get in line and get your box of food until 4 o'clock. Now, they are expecting to feed 1,700 people today. And before this even kicked off, they had 500 people already signed up to get that box of food. And it looks like today, if you do make it out to Valle High School, if you don't know where that is, it's southeast of the Austin area, just near 71 and Ross Road. You make that right-hand turn at the signal light. It'll take you up that big road. That's if you're headed out east. And then from there, you can get into line and no questions asked. They'll put a box of food right into the bed of your truck, plus some milk, too.
As our photojournalist is panning over, you can see there are still a long line of cars waiting to get up to the distribution site, just up the parking lot there. So again, here's the need right here in front of our faces, right in front of our eyes. We're looking at it right here. These families lining up for more than an hour at this point, some of them, to get a box of food to help their families.
I have to share this story that we talked about earlier this week, Will. We had a story about a local guy, a local Austinite. He's like, hey, I lost my job because of the pandemic. I have all this time on my hands. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I'm going to walk around Lady Bird Lake for 24 hours straight. Do you remember this?
Yes, he did. And part of it was in flip-flops, too, which was pretty commendable, I think.
Super impressed by that. I believe his name was Andrew Baker. Our Todd Bailey, our photojournalist Todd Bailey, went out, chatted with him, and walked with him. Not
the whole 24
hours, but he did talk to him. And Andrew said, I just have all this time on my hands. I want to give back. So he put it out there in the universe. He ended up raising $2,600, and then he donated it all to the Central Texas Food Bank. And it's things like that that are just so, you see these people out there who are volunteering their time and helping direct these cars or put the box into the bed of the truck or car or, whatever. And then you have guys like Andrew who are like, hey, I'm going to walk 24 hours in flip-flops and I'm going to raise money. So it's so great. It's great.
It's amazing to see the community step up in this way, even though a lot of people are struggling. Those who maybe have it a little better than some others are wanting to give back and to donate to the food bank. And we are so close here through our partnership and the fundraiser we've had with the food bank to raising $1 million, which provides how many meals, Mandy?
That would be 4 million meals if we hit
4
that
million
1 million.
meals.
Yeah, and that's again if you don't want to walk around Lady Bird Lake
Right.
for 24 hours.
You just have to go online and do it.
You can't leave and go donate your time. You can always go online and make a monetary donation too.
All right, we want to thank you all for watching as long as you have. Again, this is out there at Valle High School where the Central Texas Food Bank is giving out food to potentially 1,700 households here in the Austin area. So if you can give, the website's there at the bottom of your screen. It's right there, kxan.com/foodbank. We're trying to raise up to $1 million at this point. So Mandy, thanks again for joining us for our stream.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Will.
All right, everyone. We'll see you back here another time. Please stay safe and healthy, and if at all possible, still at home. Thanks, guys.